Now, what I'm about to share with you, I mean, people might not think this is relevant, might think it's a coincidence, might think it's balmy, might think it's irrational, untrustworthy source or whatever. But in totality of the evidence concerning when and how, I mean, this, yeah, it shocked me. I mean, I didn't really notice this until after the everything had passed, and then I actually clicked what had happened. And what happened was, during the Passover, obviously I was all excited because we had this blood moon coming up, and the earthquakes ramped up. And another thing happened is the false Messiah went to a point on the earth in which, when the pole shift happens and the plates move, some rise and some sink. He was actually in an area which would rise, New Zealand, which would rise out of the sea on the very day. It was like a rerun. It was like it was going to happen that time. Obviously it didn't, but you know, 2 weeks notice is not a very long notice for the earth to get ready for the biggest disaster that's ever been seen in human history and recorded. But what I noticed something after is that my dog, there's like no easy way to say this, but basically at night she was having trouble controlling her bowels, let's just say, and she was pooping on the floor. Now, she's a good girl, she never ever poos or wheezes in the house. We've had her for about 3 years, and she's never done it. You know, I think the odd time where she's been ill or whatever, you know what I mean, she's had a bit of a tummy bug for it, like a day, and maybe she's had a little whoopsie, but you can always tell when they're sick, because they've got their ears down and they just look like shit. You know, they look like, oh, you just want to give them a big cuddle and that. You can tell when a dog's sick, you know. But what happened on the Passover is different. My dog was obviously dumping on the floor at night time, so in the morning you see it, and it kept going on, and it got into a thing, and then you know, obviously I started getting a little bit annoyed, and then we started trying to take action, like not feeding her as much food, or you know, missing the evening meal, taking her out twice a day, once at last thing at night, and no matter what happened at all, she was guaranteed to dump on the floor every night. I couldn't believe it. And then, like I say, it was only after I realised that the energy coming from that thing commonly known as Nibiru, the energy must have been, I don't know if it was just her as a sign to me, supernaturally, if you get what I mean. Because, you know, I'm a watchman and I've got this ministry. I don't know whether God was giving me this sign through my dog. I'm not sure. You know, another confirmation again, like I say, on the Passover, that everything was happening on the Passover. You know, but you know, I don't know whether it was like whatever, but you know, animals can get, they sense the storms coming, don't they? And the cows, you know, they like, well, actually there was a storm. We didn't get hit by a storm, but it was close, and the cows were lying down the other day, and, you know, because they sense it and they lie down, the energy. And what is it? Have they heard the weather forecast before you? No. You know, you can't even tell that the storm's coming on the weather forecast or nothing, but it's the energy. You know, we are energy, but, you know, our humans, we can't. I suppose some people can tell when these things are going to happen, but, I mean, animals might. But I think this electromagnetic pull from this Nibiru was affecting the dog, and she was dumping, and then that is like a gauge. You know, if she was sensing it and her bowels were going loose, then I think, you know, that's another confirmation that this thing was close. And like say, people might just say that's wild card, that stuff, you know, but I've done plenty of videos about pole shift and what will happen, and everything seemed to happen on the Passover. But the pole of the earth, here's January, the pole, the earth bent over, you know, extremely. It dipped over like that. Pole shifted. on the Passover. This is USGS, and the earthquakes hit maximum red alert. 22 red alert earthquakes in the past 30 days. That was on the month of the Passover. Mainstream media says the month that that shook the world. Record earthquakes on the Passover month. And the magnetic poles of the earth got bent over so bad, like I said, the earth was ducking down, that even the aeroplanes had to change the way they took off, and they reported this in the media, the mainstream media, on or during or just after the Passover. And this one still blows my mind. I don't know if this was planned by the Illuminati. I don't think it was, because I didn't see the government shutting down, running for their bunkers or anything. I don't think they knew. I didn't think they thought it was coming, if you know what I mean. I think this was supernatural. I think God's in control of everyone. I think He sent William there as to do. You know, obviously the Antichrist has got to survive this pole shift disaster to be king and claim to be God in the last 3.5 years. 2, you got me looking at New Zealand and Australia, the parts of the world that didn't know about pole shift. Australia, west and central would go underwater, east would rise up slightly, and New Zealand would really rise out the water. And Prince William was in New Zealand on the Passover. I mean, can you believe this stuff? I mean, it's just do you see what I mean about so many different things adding up that it's hard to like not believe it, really. Well, you know, it seems like everything is pointing to this point here as being like the pole shift, the Passover, next Passover. Here's you know, Passover we've just had. Here's the second Passover, also a blood moon. Last blood moon Passover until like way down Revelation. So I mean, people think this stuff's not going to happen soon. Well, my view is there's no time for it not to happen soon, if you know what I mean. In Bible prophecy we have a lot of other things going on afterwards. That's after. So Revelation 6 says there was a massive earthquake and the sun was dark and the moon become like blood and all the stars fell from the sky and all sorts of stuff. And that's when the Illuminati and the Freemasons, they run to their bunkers with underground cities in America. And you know, everything is just pointing to this Passover, and when this Nibiru, that was commonly known, or the throne of God, will come over us, and the world won't know what's hit it. I mean, they were scared in 2011 where it just breezed by. I mean, look at that. That's a picture from 2011. If you imagine, it says 4 angels stood at the 4 corners of the earth. That means this thing has got to be close enough. I mean, that's just from a satellite. So this thing's got to be so wide that it's actually these moons are actually round the earth. You know, the whole width of the earth. So you imagine how close it was. And you know what happened in 2011? We had first the Iceland volcano went off, and then we had the Japanese tsunami. Like I say, it just seems like everything. And like I say, this was the time when my dog was having the doo-doos on the floor for a month, and then she stopped, and she hasn't, you know, she hasn't had a. Well, it was over here, wasn't it? And now we're in like September, and like she hasn't had any doo-doos since. So, like I say, I just thought I'd share with you that, you know, what she was feeling. You know, she might be a little godsend. She actually picked a nice little spot down somewhere on the Conway estuary there. It's like I say, it's a weird thing she's never ever done before. She, when you're walking with her, if I tell her to sit, like she'll sit reluctantly, you know, like after 1 or 2, they'll sit, you know, and that, and then, you know, she's pretty much like that. But we were walking along, and then she just, without a command or nothing, she just sat down on her arse right next to the water, and then I said, "Come on," like that, and she wouldn't move. And I said, "Come on," and she like wouldn't move. And I like, sort of yanked her a little bit, you know, with the lead, not hard. I said, "Come on," and I yanked her a couple of times, and then she wouldn't move at all, as if to say there's something here, like. And so I was like, all right, and I talking to her, and I was like, then I sort of clicked a little bit. Maybe she's trying to tell me that maybe this is a nice little fishing spot or something. So, you know, I said, oh, thank you very much for that sort of thing. And I'll come on now, let's go, like. And then, you know, yeah. So I think after I finish these video prophecy videos, then I'm gonna give it a bash before the season's over, and the big bass will come in. If I get a big, huge UK record bass, that dog's in for a treat. I tell you, that dog's in for a big treat if I catch a nice big bass. And don't forget, you can go over to Facebook and follow us there, End of the Age Bible Prophecy, and then obviously you can get the sort of news every day. Different stories come out. We usually share a lot and then upload videos and stuff, so you can follow us on there. So please share, like, and please comment as well if you have any comments. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Stay safe. Amen.